President Buhari departs for Equatorial Guinea to deepening bilateral relations with talks on investment and security, just as the 6th African Petroleum Congress and exhibition opens in Abuja. Plus, discussion on who is a public health practitioner and contributions to national development. These and more on today's Panorama. I'm Joseph Johnson. Thanks for joining us. Hello. In continuation of the federal government's efforts to achieve greater security of lives, resources and investments in all parts of Nigeria and its sub-region, President Muhammadu Buhari has left Nigeria today for talks with President Obiang Nguema Mbasogo of Equatorial Guinea and further measures to protect the people and resources of the Niger Delta and Gulf of Guinea. A statement by Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, says the conclusion and signing of an agreement by Nigeria and Equatorial Guinea for the establishment of a combined maritime policing and security patrol committee on Tuesday is expected to be the major outcome of President Buhari's talks with his host. The statement says President Buhari and President Mbasogo are also expected to discuss and agree on other collaborative measures to combat crimes such as piracy, crude oil theft, attacks on oil rigs, arms smuggling, and human trafficking in the Gulf of Guinea. Both leaders will also confer on the rescheduling of the joint summit of the Economic Community of West African States and the Economic Community of Central African States on additional cooperative measures to curb terrorism and violent extremism in West and Central Africa. The summit was to have been hosted by Equatorial Guinea last year, but was postponed because of Nigeria's general elections. In accordance with the main focus and agenda of the trip, President Buhari will be accompanied by the Minister of Defense, Brigadier General Mansour Dan Ali, the National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Mongunu, and other senior security officials. He is scheduled to return to Abuja on Tuesday. That's tomorrow. The federal government has warned that it will deal ruthlessly with those engaged in pipeline vandalism and the sabotage of power infrastructure and transmission, as well as fuel supplies in recent times, thus inflicting untold hardship on Nigerians. In a statement issued in Abuja, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, said the repeated attacks on oil and gas installations and the willful shutdown of power facilities by protesters amount to economic sabotage, which no government will tolerate. The vandals, he said, whatever their motives are, cannot and will not be treated with kid gloves because their actions constitute a clear and present danger to the nation's economic, social and political well-being. The attack on the Focado's export terminal, the minister said, has affected gas production by oil firms and reduced gas supply to power generating plants, and the shutdown of the Utorogo gas plant are totally condemnable and cannot be allowed to continue. The shutdown of the National Transmission Facility in Oshogbo and the Ikeja Disco by some unionists also amount to economic sabotage, Lai Mohammed maintained. He said no amount of pressure will make the government slow down on its anti-corruption fight, and no one who is corrupt will be spared. The minister, however, appealed to Nigerians to join hands with the government to check the activities of unscrupulous and unpatriotic elements who have taken it upon themselves to continuously work against the interest of the people. All right, the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says if Africa must meet its future energy need, the issue of development of a robust gas infrastructure must be jointly addressed. The Vice President, who represented President Muhammadu Buhari, said this at the 6th African Petroleum Congress, an exhibition in Abuja. He said it's time to also take a firm step on gas flaring, noting that over 150 billion cubic meter of associated gas is flared annually, and Nigeria flares close to half of the quantity.
Economic growth. We must explore mechanisms to expand regional refining capacities in an efficient and cost-effective manner. Your Excellencies, the future of the African oil and gas industry is here already. Together, we have all the resources we need, and we can develop all the necessary capacity. There is no reason why the African oil and gas industry should remain clients attached to the apron strings of oil industries elsewhere. Those of you here today, the members of APA, have the great responsibility of delivering the dividends of this great potential.
Minister of Petroleum Resources and President African Petroleum Producers Association Ibe Kachuku believes that with technology control, the price of oil will appreciate in no distant future. Now to the legislature, where the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, has given assurance that the National Assembly is working towards eradicating violence against women in Nigeria. He stated these at a meeting with the United Nations representative to ECOWAS and Nigeria on women. Grace Ongile, National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
Violence against women has continued in spite of series of awareness and campaigns against the social problem. The worst form of domestic violence against women is rape. Experts have submitted that the poorer a woman is, the higher the chances of suffering violence. This means that one of the visible solutions for ending violence against women is by empowering them, especially in the areas of political participation and socio-economic opportunities. That is why the visit of the UN representative for women to the Speaker, House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, was timely. The Speaker was emphatic that the National Assembly will enact enabling laws that will empower women and deter violence against them.
We believe also in affirmative action, deliberate promotion of the woman. Except we do that in the context of this country, if it's left to open competition, there's hardly anything the woman can do against the men. That is the truth in Nigeria today, because they are not empowered. But political consideration, social issues, traditional considerations they used to bind the women to be just mothers or housewives, all those things are taken away.
Our agency, the UN Women, is very keen on working on key 4 areas: issues of economic empowerment for women, eradication of violence against women and HIV and AIDS, increased participation of women in governance.
He emphasized that the National Assembly is committed towards resettlement and rehabilitation of internally displaced persons scattered across the country. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, groups and individuals have been urged to support the federal government's effort at fighting practices undermining the rights of women in the society. The Executive Secretary, National Human Rights Commission, Professor Bemangwe, made the plea at this year's celebration of International Women's Day in collaboration with the Embassy of Sweden in Abuja. Correspondent Basi Taikban reports.
If you describe a woman as the bedrock of the society, you may not be wrong, as the life of every man revolves around a woman, from birth to old age. But the woman is oftentimes purportedly discriminated. This, the Sweden ambassador says, is the reason for collaboration with the National Human Rights Commission to bring to fore some ill practices against women, which is in line with the Swedish feminist foreign policy.
We call these rights, representation and resources the 3 R's that enhance both gender equality and the full enjoyment of human rights by all women and girls.
In this regard, the National Human Rights Commission of Nigeria is determined to ensure that those acts of discrimination against women which are prohibited are not only enshrined in our Constitution, but is also demonstrated in the way of all people.
The women say the time has come for women to stand up in unity and fight for their rights. In Abuja, Basi Taikban, NTA News.
As part of efforts of the federal government to diversify the Nigerian economy, government at all levels must be actively involved in the revival of the mining sector, as well as adequate funding of the sector. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria affirmed these while discussing the topic, developing Nigeria's solid minerals sector. Oyeyemi Ajayi has details.
Nigeria is a country blessed with vast natural resources. Over 44 commercially viable mineral resources are said to be buried in parts of the country. However, these mineral resources are left to lay fallow in the ground with little or no exploration on these resources. For example, Nigeria loses 8 trillion naira annually to gold, and also huge amount of money is lost to other untapped mineral deposits. While talking about developing Nigeria's solid mineral sector, guests on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria say with the present administration's commitment to the diversification of the country's economy, mining sector needs a lot of developmental focus. The guests highlighted frustrations due to lack of patience and inadequate funding as major problems of the mining sector.
But certainly in development, in proven international standard projects, the government should help by having and forming a development fund for those people, private and groups.
The governments are trying their best. The past governments, even this government has made it as one of its pillars for development, you know. But I really don't think that they have clear understanding of all that needs to be done to move this sector.
The guest also echoed the need for state governments to be actively involved in mining in their states, calling on better sensitization of state governors on the sector.
State government should be interested by the fact that they too, are getting 14% derivation. They should be interested, in increasing mining activities in their state.
On how credible investors can have access to funds set aside for the development of the sector, one of the guests has this to say.
I think the only way to gain access to funds is to make yourself first ready. You need to have a clear business plan that projects to provide some form of good returns for that funding.
They called on the need for Nigeria to create a solid mineral development bank to support solid mineral production in Nigeria. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
You're watching Panorama on the NTA. Who is a public health physician? Details when we come back. Don't go away.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching Panorama on the network service of the NTA. And now I'm being joined in the studio by a public health physician, Dr. Zipporah Pamo, to speak on who a public health physician is. You're welcome to a studio, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
Now,
Good afternoon.
tell us, who are public health physicians?
Okay, so public health physicians are medical doctors who specialize in the practice of medicine that focuses on protecting and improving the health of families and communities through the promotion of healthy lifestyles, research for disease and injury prevention, and detection and control of infectious diseases. So for a public health physician, your client is not a patient, is either a family or a community.
Okay. All right, so what informed the theme for this year's conference?
Yeah, so for this year's conference, we're looking at universal health coverage as a way forward for attaining the Sustainable Development Goals. Right. Last year, the whole world came together and agreed on 17 Sustainable Development Goals. One of those goals is Goal 3, which focuses on health. And we see universal health coverage, which is a situation where people have access to the health care that they need, you know, not minding the cost and so on and so forth, that not being a limitation. So having over 80% of Nigerians able to access the health care they need is where we say we have universal health coverage, and we feel that we need to get to that level, you know, where we do not have barriers, you know, as with regards to access to health. And before we can say that we're even attaining the Sustainable Development Goals.
All right, talking about health, what opportunities does this conference portend for the Nigerian health sector?
So at this conference, we're going to be talking about several public health issues that, you know, affect us. One of it is we are all celebrating the gains of the polio eradication. What lessons can we learn from the programs and the policies that got us to the stage where we are now? It's all about public health. We're looking at internally displaced people. They have got many problems that we seem to be grappling with. But, you know, how should we be managing internally displaced people in our country? You know, so this conference will look at, you know, coming up with a recipe as to how to do that the right way. We're also looking at emerging, re-emerging, and neglected tropical diseases. I know that many are like, okay, so what is emerging? What is re-emerging? We have new diseases that are coming up, like Ebola virus disease. Okay. You know, a few years ago, we were not talking about it, but now it is topical. You know, last year we had to grapple with containing a pandemic, you know, of that. And then you have re-emerging diseases, even malaria. We thought at a certain point that we had overcome malaria, but you know, the way malaria has come back, we know that we need to really refocus on it. Tuberculosis, we have drugs that can handle that, but yet we're still grappling with issues of tuberculosis. Those are emerging and re-emerging diseases and neglected tropical diseases like rabies, tetanus, all of those things. We need to really sit down and take another look so that they don't overshadow us.
Okay, so there's this conference now. Is it a Nigerian initiative, or does it involve a foreign partnership?
Yes, so it's an international conference where we have members, public health physicians from all over the world. Oh. They have registered to come. and be a part of the discussion, and then a part of coming up with the solutions that we're going to be bringing forward at the end of the conference. So we're going to have a communique that will address each and every one of these sub-themes. And yeah, we do have international partners that are coming, funding roundtable discussions, plenaries. So we have a really very interesting package, for not only public health physicians, but any public health practitioner, that is interested in what is happening in the Nigeria public health space. It should be a part of this discussion.
Okay, Doctor, before I let you go, quickly tell us what are the successes and challenges recorded so far?
Yes, so I just talked briefly about the polio eradication. You know that it's through public health that we were able to eradicate smallpox several years ago, and now we are on the verge of eradicating polio. That will be the second disease that we've helped to eradicate, and that's a big plus for public health. And then we're talking about women and children being able to access the health care that they need. Most of our population, women and children, if we're able to take care of their health care needs, would have taken care of about 80% of the health care needs of Nigerians. And that's why we're pushing for universal health coverage, because once we are able to attain universal health coverage, we'll be able to, claim that success. And until we have a world where women and children have access to the healthcare, to their healthcare needs, we're not going to have a world that is at peace.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very laudable initiative indeed. And it's on that note that I thank you very much indeed for joining us in our studio today. And best of luck in achieving that feat, Doctor.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking.
All right. I've been speaking with public health physician, Dr. Zipporah Bamo. All right. Now let's talk sports. Enyimba International Football Club of Aba have one leg in the next round of the CAF Champions League after a 5-1 defeat of Vitalo of Burundi. Warri Wolves, however, lost by a lone goal at home to Al Marek of Sudan in the same competition. In the CAF Confederation Cup, Nasarawa United earned their 3 points in Abuja against Constantine of Algeria, as Amanzi Marcos reports.
The only Nigerian club side remaining in the CAF Confederations Cup competition, Nasarawa United Football Club of Lafia struggled to beat CSA Constantine Football Club of Algeria by a lone goal on Sunday at the Abuja National Stadium. The Algerians took more shots at goal in the first half of the first leg second round encounter, with the home team unable to threaten Gould Najib in goal for Constantine, the oldest Algerian club side formed in 1898. Substitute Philip Azango, however, broke the deadlock in the 86th minute to earn Nasarawa United the 3 points.
That goal for Nasarawa United. The goal at last. Celebrations for Nasarawa United.
All the coach needed to do was to bring 2 players, Bature Yaro and Philip Azango. And you can see that Philip Azango has scored the first goal for Nasarawa United.
Philip Azango, the goal scorer, jersey number 11 for Nasarawa United. From the bench, he came in and scored.
It was a harvest of goals on Sunday in the 6-week 6 matches of the Nigeria Professional Football League decided nationwide. Apart from Aqua United's victory on Friday, 23 goals were scored on Sunday, with MFM now topping the table with 13 points after a 3-1 defeat of El Kanemi Warriors of Maiduguri. In the second position is Rangers of Enugu, who drew 2-2 with Abia Warriors. Niger Tornadoes beat Rivers United 3-2. Meanwhile, world number 2 Andy Murray beat Spain's Marcel Granollers 6-4, 7-6 to reach the third round of the BNP Paribas Open at Indian Wells. The 23-year-old recovered from a 3-1 down to take the first set despite hitting just one winner before clinching victory in a second set tie-break. Murray will now face Argentina's Federico Del Bonis in the third round. With Sports News Update, Amanzi Marcus, NTA News.
And our sports update does it on Panorama. Thank you very much indeed for your company. Join us again at 4 p.m. for Nationwide. I'm Joseph Johnson. Until then, see you soon.